Hello everyone and welcome to Guild Wars 2 Daily. Today we're talking about lore. Really, I think it should be mechanics that's due today. Gonna be perfectly honest, I think it is mechanics. I can't really remember. As you may know, from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even pretty much all of today, Thursday, I've been completely away. I was in a hotel in a different city for a while. I've basically started a new job, a new day job. It's taking up a lot of my time pretty much for most of this week, and I haven't really had much time at all for anything YouTube related. So I've kind of been gone. I've had some backlog videos going up. I see that a lot of you didn't like the footage that I put on those videos. That was me playing, admittedly, but it was bad footage. The reason why some of my beta impression stuff's still taking a while to come out is because a lot of the footage I took, honestly, I did think was a bit crap. It was just me running around dying in areas way too powerful for where I should be. But really, that was just how I was playing the game, and it just so happened I had the cameras rolling, if you will, and I caught it. But anyway, so that was Asura blog stuff. I hope you guys liked that. Guild Wars 2 Daily is back. It will be every day from now on. I'm not going to be in a hotel anymore, so that should be fine. The commentary, we are doing lore today. Last lore episode that we did, I was talking quite a lot about the playable orders that you can choose for Guild Wars 2. I first talked about the Order of Whispers, and last time we were talking about the Derman Priory, where it just so happens when I filmed that episode, I actually recorded a lot of stuff for the Vigil as well, a big explanation of that, but I cut it out, and that's basically what you're going to hear now. So this is my talk to you about the Vigil, the final choice, the final order that you may join in Guild Wars 2, everything you need to know about them. I've just listened to and edited my commentary. I thought it was quite good, if I do say so myself, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Footage in the background's from Sakabaz. Once again, it's a mix of Guardian gameplay, it's a bit of a mix of PvP and personal story stuff. I'll tell you guys again, this Sakabaz has really got a lot of footage on their channel, but not many people seem to have seen much of it, so there will be a link in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. There is a lot of videos there, so there's probably something that you haven't seen before about Guild Wars 2. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling. I'll hand you over to myself from the other day, and it's good to be back. Enjoy. The Vigil are the newest group. These guys are really, the way I see it is, you had maybe the more intelligent people of Tyrion knew that the Elder Dragons were going to be a threat a long time ago, but now, especially after what happened with Kraukatoric just absolutely destroying so much stuff, finally most people are now realizing, oh god, these are a threat. And the Vigil are, there's nothing that specifically says this, but I'm sure that the idea is the Vigil are the largest of these organizations, really, because the Vigil kind of describe themselves as, okay, get this is a quote, they intend to be an army of light against the onslaught of darkness, right? Okay, an army, and that's kind of the impression you get from the Vigil. These are loads and loads of people who want to take up arms and combat the Elder Dragons, and they believe that they should fight them, and that brute force, essentially, can push back these Elder Dragons and allow the races to retake the planet. And that's what the Vigil stand for. You tend to find that there are these situations, really, where there'll be a problem, some minions of one of the Elder Dragons are doing something, and it's the Vigil that are doing all the fighting and keeping them at bay, while perhaps the other two orders are trying to think about some different way of why it might be happening. For example, for the Derman Priory, or the Order of Whispers might be trying to find some subversive way to find a solution to the problem. But it's always the Vigil that are just immediately, right, we will defend the weak, we will defend the helpless, and they are there fighting from the off, while the other guys maybe just want to learn from the experiences. Obviously they all don't want these minions to destroy anyone, but they will try and go by different ways of solving the problem rather than just tackling everything head on and perhaps risking casualties to, say, their organization. The Vigil are very much the people that want to fight and save people in the only way they know how, which is to tackle things head on. Out of all three orders, really, the Vigil are the only ones we've seen where their actual base is in-game. In some of the demos, we could go to a place called Gendaran Hills, which wasn't available in the beta, actually. I was kind of expecting it to be. But in there, you can see the Vigil keep, just a giant thing. I mean, the actual cities, just to go slightly off topic here for a second, the cities in Guild Wars 2 are huge, right? They're massive. People always forget about Ebenhawk as well, but that's another massive one too. And they're all out there, like, in the world, and people are so, like, blown away by how big they are. But what we forget is there are three orders here as well, and if the Vigil keeps anything to go by, we potentially have, they're not the full size of full cities, but these things are massive as well. These are huge, giant structures, massive places that serve as essentially your quest hubs, if I dare call it that, for Guild Wars 2 in the later part of the storyline. These are also huge, massive places that you can go to, and when you see this Vigil keep, you can dig around on YouTube, find some of those old videos of people that were at those conventions. It does look incredible. It really does. And that's the Vigil Keep. It exists just essentially a bit north of Lion's Arch, and from there they operate and send out arms and send out soldiers to try and fight the Elder Dragons where they are needed. They in particular think that people need to act fast now. They're the latest ones to the party, but they're also the ones that are trying to force action as much as possible, and they're saying, oh, the Elder Dragons are getting stronger and stronger, we need to fight, which I think in some ways is supposed to like irk the other two organizations who kind of think, look, we've been tackling this for a long time, we know it's a serious threat, you're not just going to be able to go throw your lives away at them. It's a bit like with the Norn individually. The Norn themselves, some believe, oh, I can go and fight the Ice Brood, I can go fight Dragon, and they go off and fight Jormag's minions, and rather than making any difference, they just join the ranks of that dragon, which kind of sucks. And with the Vigil, it's almost in some ways feels like that on a grander scale. Not to say though that the Vigil fail. They certainly do not. They save many people, and they are heroes, and they work together in large numbers to fight the Elder Dragons, and they are doing a hell of a lot more than not doing anything at all. And because now that these guys are existing, I guess the idea is that a lot of the people of Tyria are beginning to see that they are empowered to take up arms and help fight this problem. So the Vigil are, if you feel like you want to be a fighter, if you want to be the hero that's really fighting these things head on, then that's where the Vigil stand. And they have their base up there in the Gendaran Fields. In the second book, and in fact the first book as well, if I remember rightly, we hear that they've also got like another big base in Lion's Arch. You could actually go there in the beta. It was quite interesting. It was nothing how I imagined it to be in the book, but they do have their own kind of base there. All these organizations have got bases in all of the places, really. The Order of Whispers don't seem to, but for example, you could go to Divinity's Reach, and there's a very public area with the Dermond Priory there. There's a very public place for the Dermond Priory to stay. There's a very public place for the Vigil to stay as well. The Order of Whispers are much more in the shadows, so they don't have their own kind of place, but you can kind of see that in most areas. The person in charge of the Vigil is a woman called, a female Char, should I say, called Almora Soulkeeper. She's quite an interesting character. You learn a fair bit about her in the books. She actually was quite an unconventional Char in some ways, in that she was one of the early adopters of the idea of this treaty between the humans and the Char, and in fact the Vigil functioned really as a go-between for these two peoples, the humans and the Char, for making this treaty happen, which is quite cool. I'm not going to spoil the book or exactly how Almora decides to sort of tackle that problem, but one other cool thing about Almora is she didn't have a warband, which is a pretty bad thing to be a Char. If you lose your warband, you're supposed to grab one straight away, otherwise you're pretty much looked down upon by the rest of the Char. She was known as a Gladium, but she kind of turned her back on all that, and she came to Lion's Arch, but she became great for it. She founded the Vigil, and for good reason as well, because she wasn't just a Gladium by chance. Her warband was killed when Kralkatorix scarred the land. Pretty much all of her friends, her family was her warband, were killed. She was a legionnaire, and they were just all killed, turned to crystal, except for her, and she appreciated the threat, and she left, and she founded the Vigil, which was really cool. She's quite a cool character, I must say. We've heard about some other people. I think there's actually a High-Look that you meet that's in the book who's in the Vigil, which is fantastic, really, really cool. And yeah, these guys, it's funny, I say that I feel like they're probably the biggest of the organizations, as in have the most numbers at this point, but maybe a part of me only says that because I also feel like most players will go to the Vigil when they play through for the first time. Not many people actually care about the story, let's be honest here. The Order of Whispers have kind of got that cool thing going on with them because people want to be like the badass spies and stuff, but I reckon they'll be second biggest. But yeah, that's the Vigil, and really the most you need to know about them. Those are your three choices in Guild Wars 2. Who do you join? Well, that's up to you, but it seems like it will dramatically change your story for the end parts of the game. It's really quite cool. You kind of get a big decision out of 5, which race, which affect your early stuff, and then later on you get a big decision out of 3, which order, which will affect your late game stuff. By the time I'm done with the game, I certainly would have made 3 characters and experienced all 3 plots, but yeah, it's a big decision to be made, and that's kind of what's laid on the table. So there we go, guys. I hope you learned something about the Vigil today, and I guess I'll see you for mechanics tomorrow. Like I say, we may have just done 2 lore episodes in a row. I can't quite remember anymore, but we'll be back onto mechanics tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll see you next time.